Hello there, and welcome back to Four Tims in a Podcast. You join us on the afternoon of the 24th of February, a couple of days after Celtic were defeated at home to Hibs, which saw them lose momentum in the league. It was Martin O'Neill's first domestic defeat since he returned in both spells this season, and it leaves Celtic 6 points behind league leaders Hearts, obviously with a game in hand as well, so we're here today to discuss that. And I think there's been a bit of movement about the meeting minutes from the meeting the collective had with the board last week, so obviously we've got Andy on who'll discuss that as well. So myself, Darren, I'm here with Tony and Andy. We will be back later in the week with a Glasgow Derby preview. Danny will join us for that, so everybody that's missing him, tune in later in the week and you'll get your weekly fix of Danny. Tony, I'll come at you now. I don't want to blow me, you and Andy's in trumpet, but we all pretty much predicted. I think me and Andy predicted draws and you predicted a 2-0 defeat. Turned out to be a 2-1 defeat, and it's not even a surprise that it's not like we're pure heralding ourselves as these oracles that have seen this coming when nobody else did, but it's yet another terrible performance for this Celtic team, and as I say, it's a crucial loss. When you look at the fixtures we've coming up, this was a home game that we really had to count on getting 3 points if we want to regain the title.
It's hardly a big wow, look at us, we're Nostradamus. I mean, it's not a surprise that Celtic lost. I think it shows the league goes against Dundee, Livy and Killie were just it was because you're playing against such poor opposition. It wasn't the start of some miraculous fight back and some kind of great team spirit and desire, and this was going to be the catalyst. I think we all admitted that it wasn't sustainable, it wasn't, and we get beat. As everybody knows, I said in the last episode I wasn't going, and I wasn't going to watch. I was at the Sopranos show, which was excellent. Don't know if anybody else was there. There was a few points for my dad. He went to the toilet, came back, says, it's one each with us. But Livy were beating Rangers, and I thought, Jesus, that was a surprise. The biggest surprise was Livy, as opposed to anything with us. But then it all went kind of tits up. I seen we get a red card. I've seen the highlights back once. I think it's a red. I think it's utterly ridiculous to just chop somebody's hand like that. It's as if he's went, oh fuck, wait a minute, I'm due to play at Ibrox next week. Come here, you foof, and get yourself sent off. So the appeals to try and, that way they try to appease fans. Look, we're taking on the SFA. Look at us, we're great. So, but no, I mean, obviously, the show finished, and I think Rangers were still playing. There's some laugh the amount of times they moan about the added time. I think it was fucking 100 minutes in their game, and then obviously they dropped points, and we didn't get any points whatsoever. I seen Martin O'Neill says we were brilliant. Maybe they were. I can't go against that because I've no seen any of the game. I just seen the goals. I don't know who's at the back stick for their first goal. I think it might be Tanecki. I mean, that's pretty brutal play. And then Nygren, as always, scores. Just, I guess you need to give him credit for that. But no, I think I've said consistently we won't win the league, and that just kind of hammers down the point. I actually seen somebody in the YouTube comments had a go at me for predicting 5 defeats in a row. Says it didn't make me a true Celtic fan, and it kind of made me chuckle, just because I think we're shite and we are shite. Somehow I should just lie and say I think we're going to win every game because I'm faithful through and through, and hail, all that nonsense. And I think for that guy, I don't think I predicted us to lose to Aberdeen. I think I says we would get a draw up there. But if you look at it now, I mean, there is a good chance we could lose 5 in a row or 5 out of 6 because you play Stuttgart next in Germany. Is anybody backing us to win that? I'm certainly not. Play Rangers at Ibrox, back them to beat us comfortably, as I says, and then I think Aberdeen could beat us, probably more likely a draw. So again, I think this weekend's been a demonstration of lashing out at people who aren't responsible for what's actually going on in the pitch. There's been a hell of a lot going on with fan media. We're in a box, and Jeanette Finlay told somebody she doesn't owe them fuck all, and I've been getting so many messages about this thing for people that wouldn't be on social media, and I'm going, how the fuck is this the big issue? People should be sending me messages going, Michael Nicholson's a rat bastard, isn't he? And should be sending me, Dermot Desmond's a cunt, isn't he? But instead I'm getting people asking me, if fucking Paul John Dykes was in a box. I mean, who gives a fuck? I don't care. I've said that before. I wouldn't have been in a box this season. Maybe in seasons gone by when Big Ange was running riot, I may have frequented hospitality and thoroughly enjoyed it. But I wouldn't have been in a box this season, and I says I wouldn't have been in Celtic Park this season. But I just don't think it's a big deal. I think it's this thing where people have such a hatred towards kind of fan media. Well, that seems to be the big focus. And I guess I can understand why people think it's not a good look, and it probably isn't. But for me, I'm just past the point about caring about any of these things. My focus is this board are destroying this club, and I've said that a million times. And now you're watching it unfold. We had a few kind of big results under O'Neill and carried a bit of luck and done well, but now I think that's gone. Like this team, this squad, the absolute state of it is fully exposed. The fact he's still playing Kasper Schmeichel suggests to me that Sinisalo's probably not very good, and that suggests to me that that's another failing of the board to not identify a new keeper in the January window or the summer window. So yeah, again, just failing after failing. I've seen a few people saying Martin O'Neill got the team wrong yesterday. Again, maybe he did, but it's just incredible the demise of the club. I think that's our 7th league defeat. I think everybody in the league's taking a turn of giving us a fucking punch in the chops. St Mirren in the cup, the Huns have done us, Hearts have done us twice, Hibs have done us, Dundee United, Motherwell. There's no many teams, even the likes of Livy and Kelly gave us massive scares. So you've got £70 million in the bank and you're absolutely shite. I know it's repetitive, but it'd be wrong of me not to remind every listener that these fuckers have got, I think, 67.7 million in the bank. And that is the product that you're paying thousands of pounds to go and watch, or thousands if you're travelling, if you're no, but I'm assuming over the course of the season it's over £1,000 a ticket to watch all the games, just at home and cups. So I just find it absolutely incredible. And I said before about us finishing third and people thought I was off my head. Tell me something, fourth isn't far away, because Motherwell I think are the best team in the league to watch anyway, and I don't think Rangers, Hearts or Celtic would fancy it against them, and unfortunately we play them again soon. So actually, I'll take it back about saying we could lose 5 in a row, we could lose 6 in a row, because I would not be surprised if Motherwell rocked up to Celtic Park and dusted us, because it's a finished team. I think people thought, oh, you are quick to say the January transfer window was a failure. It's an absolute failure. The people we added done nothing to enhance us in Europe, and now we're losing league games. And we've looked shit since they signed. That's not me having a go at the guys personally. Oxlade-Chamberlain I think's a good player. Big Tam up front I think's okay. The right back I think's okay as well. The other guy, Arthur, he's just been thrown in. The other guy we're going to spend $3 million on, he is missing. Don't know where he is, don't know what's up with him. So yeah, just it's another failure transfer window. I know people wanted to hold on to hope that it wouldn't be, but it's evidently clear we've not backed Martin O'Neill. We have hung Martin O'Neill out to dry, and that was the easiest game coming up, was Hibs at home. Don't get me wrong, they're an okay side, but they're nothing special, and you've lost that. So now you've got to go away to Stuttgart, away to Ibrox twice, away to Aberdeen, then Motherwell at home. I mean, that is gouge your eyes out stuff to have to watch that with this kind of team. And just another point I wanted to make, I remember last May, we played Rangers at Ibrox, we drew 1 each. It might have been April, but I think it was May. And Liam Scales was diabolical. And I remember saying, right, next time we're at Ibrox, he can't play. A year later nearly, and he's going to be the main centre-half because Trusty's suspended. It's fucking incredible. Just a club that is just decided just to smash the big red self-destruct button. Aye, it's just madness, and the fan base is just getting more divided by the minute. I think what I said the other day in terms of the collective, kind of blowing my own trumpet here, I'll be a listener to like that one, was correct. Do nothing, because this team are shite enough to show all the board's failings all on their own. This team will do the collective's bidding for them. The collective are saying that things are wrong at the club. Let the team show everybody how fucking wrong it is, because they're pish, they're trying, they're nice guys, I'm sure. Some of them have been brilliant servants for us. The management team, they're obviously Martin O'Neill's a legend, whatever else. I think he's trying his best, but he can only kind of piss for the cock he's got, for lack of a better phrase, and the team are poor. So I don't think Martin O'Neill's going to be able to do anything with them. So yeah, I guess to summarise this kind of, it's not really a rant, because it's not as if I'm devastated we lost or shocked. It's just kind of check my phone at full time. Nah, we get beat. Oh well. I'll be able to enjoy the rest of my day. And to be fair, I was doing the Gallagate after it, and I was in lunches, and to be fair, everybody was just up singing and dancing and just enjoying themselves. I think there's probably a kind of idea now between a lot of Celtic fans that this is fucked, so might as well just get pissed and enjoy our night out and try and not let it distract us too much. But aye, in summary, Celtic didn't lose because I remember the collective steering group told somebody on Twitter that they owe them fuck all. They didn't lose because people from fan media get drunk in a box or ate prawn sandwiches or whatever the fuck you want to say. They lost because the board and Dermot Desmond are a shower of horrible, useless cunts. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. Oh, actually, no TED Talk, that's too close to teddy bears. Thanks for listening to my Tony Talk.
Covered a lot there. I was there on Sunday. For my sins, I'm still going. I know you and Andy have chucked it because you can't see it turning around or can't see any change happening. And I think, even from the outset, like, I think I was walking up to the game from after I'd parked the motor and seen people saying, oh, Brian Wilson's out there talking to the fans. This guy really wants to sort stuff and bring unity, where we're obviously get a bit of maybe an inside look to what's going on behind the scenes. And I says it on here last week, he's just a politician, career politician, and chances are when his mouth's moving, he's lying. And so I think people are just getting a bit hoodwinked with that as well. And then we went in and we're a terrible team. But as you say, like, we get a lot of stick because I think I posted one of the episodes after the transfer window saying another failed transfer window, and people are like, oh, how can you say that? We've signed 5 players and they've not kicked a ball yet. And I think the proof's in the pudding. We're just so poor at the back and we're so poor going forward. The midfield's missing as well. Like, I think that on Sunday, even Big Tam, who's been alright so far, I thought he was really poor. To be fair, I thought he was getting manhandled all over the place, and Matthew McDermott gave him absolutely fuck all. I think he had a couple of shouts for penalties for Bushiri sort of manhandling him, but I don't think they get looked at. But he did miss a few sittles. There was a few times that sort of broke to him. One in particular just around the 6-yard box, and his sort of attempt at a finish was pitiful. I just think the team's terrible, and look, there was a lot of discourse after Thursday about, oh, can't believe you booed Kasper Schmeichel. Well, I didn't, but obviously some people did, and he kept his place. I think it was a bit weak from the management team, the coaches, to be fair. I think we're going to be in a position in 3 months' time when Schmeichel's left. We're going to have no idea whether Sinisalo or Ross Doohan are any good, or if we need a new first-choice keeper. And I think about 10 minutes into the game, he passed it straight to Hibs player, and luckily we weren't punished. And it's just, there's nothing going right for the team, you know, and I've been pretty positive in terms of thinking we might hang about in the league, but Sunday to me just told me it was done. And I think it's the first time I've said it on here this season. I think Hearts will win the league by about 9 points. Been sort of writing them off all year, but I think us and Rangers are absolutely terrible. They're obviously can't seem to win away from home, and the reason I'd rule us out, I know we've got a game in hand, but if you look at our record against the teams we've still got to play this season, it's awful. Like, we're going to Tannadice in March. They beat us there the last time. Motherwell coming to Celtic Park. Fair enough, we beat Motherwell at Celtic Park. It was the day we flew back from Prague. Happier times for us. But on that day, everybody that I knew that went to that game says Motherwell should have been out of sight and should have easily won. Then they obviously dusted us in December at Fir Park. You get 2 games against Rangers. Now, I know we beat them in the semi-final after extra time, but you're about a year and a half since you beat them in the league. And I think it was September 2024 was the last time we beat them, so that's over a year and a half now, and we're playing them twice. Like, I couldn't really give a fuck about the Scottish Cup, I'll no lie, obviously. I hope Celtic turn it around and somehow manage to get to a double, but I just can't see it. We're on 54 points now, and I think we've got 11 games left. I think we're probably going to need to get to about the mid-80s to win the league, and I don't see how we go the rest of this season only dropping points one more time. I think, as I say, I think we're done. The team is just full of players. Like, Schmeichel's not going to win your league scales, isn't he? Like your Hatate and Maeda in this state. Isfanshara is not scoring enough. Your Taneki flatters to deceive. Yang was good for a while there, but he's a bit off the boil again. And then it's just, I could see Sunday coming a mile away. Like we all have a go at you, Tony, for saying, oh, I think Celtic are going to get beat, etc. But I thought it as well. I just thought Hibs I don't think they're a great team in any stretch. And I actually think they might get beat on Saturday against Dundee. I think that's how little I was impressed with them. I've been impressed with Presley. Maybe he'll be the next Celtic manager after a good win at Pittodrie for him at the weekend. But I just, look, there's nothing about our team. As I said, we've not beat Rangers in a year and a half in the league. Hearts have beat us twice this season, and got a draw, so we've only got one more chance against them. Hibs, we beat obviously there, but they got a point at Celtic Park early in the season, and then, we beat them at Easter Road, and then they've beat us there, so I don't know how we can go into that split thinking, you know what, we're going to win all 5 of these split games and get the league. I think you're lucky if we win 5 or 6 games remaining in the league, and I just don't think that's going to be anywhere near enough. And as I say, it's the first time I've sort of realised this season that I think Hearts will actually do it. They're grinding out these wee horrible 1-0 wins like at the weekend against Falkirk. I think they've got that knack. I think they've got a decent run to the split. I think their last game before the split is at home to Motherwell. I think the 4 before that look relatively alright games. I think if they win them and then they beat Motherwell that game before the split, I think Hearts could be very close to sealing it. And I hate to say that because I'd hate to see McInnes win a league, but I think they're really in sight of it now. Back to the game, as I say, I just thought we were terrible. Hibs they got that goal, as you mentioned, to Netke, weak as piss at the back post, and just the Hibs player just wanted it more, and it's a header that Schmeichel's not got much chance with. Probably should have went 2-0 up a couple of minutes later, because a simple floated ball went right out of the header, Liam Scales, and I know we get a lot of stick for how much criticism we give him, but he is a pathetic defender, and anybody that's defended him, I think you just need to watch him. Focus on him for a 90 minutes at any game, and you'll see he's nowhere near good enough for Celtic. And I'm sick of banging that drum. And Tony's right, it goes back to the last season. He's let us down consistently, and we've not replaced him. And that's why when you lose your only sort of competent centre half in Carter Vickers, that you're then just sort of scrambling. And Trusty, a liability. I've said it on here. I mentioned last week that I said the Scales and Schmeichel are bad, but Trusty wasn't much better. He might be worse because he's just. You can say that he's been antagonised or provoked to do that to McGrath, but it's complete stupidity when you know there's 5-6 camera angles watching you to fucking just go and karate chop that boy's arm. You're just opening yourself up. Now, I thought McDermott had seen it, and so I don't know why it wasn't classed as it's no clear and obvious that he's missed it, because it looked to me like he's seen it and he was going to speak to the players. Like Martin O'Neill says that as well. But as soon as VAR sends him out, when you see the angles, there's no way. And I agree with Tony. I think Celtic are just sort of showboating in terms of putting this appeal in to say, we're taking it to the SFA, we won't let this lie. But I think there's little to no chance it'll be overturned. As you said, we obviously got that equaliser just before half time. Nygren again stunk the place out, but is where he needs to be. That was obviously equaliser against Hibs, equaliser against Stuttgart, and equaliser against Kilmarnock in the last few weeks. But he's just a player that, I say it on here, all he does is score goals. He's pathetic the rest of the game, and I know that sounds sort of hypocritical, but it's just, you need more from him. And as soon as we got that man sent off, he did sort of worry, because look, people don't like to hear it, right? But the atmosphere at Celtic Park on Sunday in that second half was the best it's been all season, because people knew Rangers were getting beat 2-0, and it felt like the momentum was in our sort of favour. And Tony talks about moments. It felt like we were going to turn it around, they were going to lose, and we would just sort of go marching on to Ibrox with obviously the game in hands after Ibrox, but we had that sort of where whatever happened at Ibrox, we would be able to overtake them again if we went and won at Aberdeen. But we conspired to get that red card, denied a Stonewall penalty 30 seconds later after that corner eventually get took. And so McDermott's watching it again, and then I don't know what happened to Celtic Park, but he put a stupid sign up saying instant outside area. So that's either an idiot at the VAR studio or an idiot at Celtic Park that's put the rank hang up, because it's clear as day, it's a penalty, and look, anything could have happened after that, but I think we would have had enough to see it out. But we're obviously still searching for that winner. Then get caught in the break. Good break from Hibs, to be fair, with a couple of minutes to go, and they just have that bit of composure that our front line doesn't, where they break up the park. I think Callum McGregor is probably at fault for that goal as well. He's sort of blindsided by the boy that makes that supporting run and gets laid off to him, and it's a lovely finish from him. Don't think we've got a player that got that composure that would have been able to finish it like that. And it just, as I say, it feels to me like it's done, and I don't see where Celtic's victories are going to come from for the next sort of 11 games, and I think we'd be lucky if we win half of them, which I've said. But Andy, what's your sort of thoughts on another capitulation this season?
Not surprised. I feel like I fucking say this every single week. I don't disagree with anything either have said. I'm at a loss how there's anybody who can really turn around and have a go at any of us or Tony or whatever it might be for saying what we said prior to this game. Look, there is absolutely no way any reasonable football fan would have looked at that and says, absolutely we're going to go and win all the games, because we've given nothing to show that. The team's fucking rotten. The backroom staff and the managerial can't even make a decision to drop a goalkeeper who is fucking doing everything they can to get you beat. That's without even getting into the fucking shape of the guy. He's fucking overweight, and it's ironic. Like, I've seen a lot recently of people going about and sharing a lot of stuff that happened during his time at Nice, and it's all the exact same issues cropping up again. The guy couldn't give a fuck. Like, get him out the team. I can respect it. Like, see if a player's just not very good. Like, it is what it is. Liam Scales isn't a Celtic defender. He's not very good. Trusty, Tunnett, all these players, right, they're just not very good. Right, Anthony Ralston, another one, just not very good. But they at least try. Like, you can say they try, so I'll give him a bit more leeway. Kasper Schmeichel does not try. He does not bother his fucking arse. And we've got a management team just refusing to draft him at this point. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy behaviour. And the fact that he wasn't even attempted to be replaced in January if the subs aren't that good, whether it's Sinisalo or Ross Doohan, who we brought back to the club incidentally. So what's the fucking point of that? Like, just crazy. Just fucking wrap it up there. Just start forfeiting games at that point, because that's essentially what you're doing with this fucking muppet goals. But again, that's probably symptomatic and speaks to where we're at as a club. That's our goalie. That's our last line of defence. Not surprised, to be honest. I think I said one each. I think it probably would have happened if not for the red card, because we weren't scoring again. It's just a terrible team. It's somebody said that a few times. It's an interim team with an interim manager and an interim chairman, and it really is. Like, there's it's got nothing about it. There's nothing I think I look at and think we're really good at that. Like, we're maybe lacking and we're susceptible to counter attacks, but no, when we're on the ball, we build up. None of that. There's no strengths in our game. There's nothing I look at and think you can tell they're working on that. They're actually really good at that as a side. Nothing, not a single thing. There's no strengths other than, I think the only possible positive that I could, if I really had to try and find one, is that Yang is probably in the best form of his Celtic career thus far, which doesn't say much, but he's getting a half tune out of him, and Araujo looks a decent player, but again, what does it matter? His own loan, we won't sign him permanently. Doesn't really matter. That's it. I think that's as far as I could go with positives in a Celtic team. Like, I just, whether it was Trusty gets sent off or no, I mean, even on that very quickly, like, it's daft and it gives the ref a decision to make, right? And I said this to you, is like, I think the issue with it is, if that is a red card, then you're going to, like, that needs to be consistent through the season, because you see that in every single game of football you ever watch. If he's had to hit somebody's arm off of him, he's being held. So the first issue there's a foul on him because he's being held. Like, even if anybody watched the Man U and Everton game yesterday, the amount of fucking nonsense that's going on in that box, and people getting flung around, people getting held so they're hitting their arms, like, that happens every single week. Okay, if that's a foul and a red card, then that has to happen everywhere in every game. And I know that's a different league, but just as an example, that happens in Scotland every single fucking week. It's just nonsense. Like, as I say, it's the inconsistency with that really annoys me. And I do think, I can't remember what one is that said, I do think there's a lot of truth in that's the club just trying to drum up the whole side of the fan base who'll think, they're taking it to the SFA. Like, I don't really think the club will think that will be overturned either. It's just sort of another show of defiance that they're trying to drum up a bit of support for themselves. But it's just fucking stupid. Like, that's all it is. See if he's holding you, right, okay, do or something, do something else. Like, you know they're going to look for an excuse to do something like that. Aye, just a nonsense. But I think if we kept 11 men in the park, we weren't going to score anyway. I just don't see it. I didn't see it. I think we were pish across the board. I don't know what game Martin O'Neill was talking about when he was saying how good we were. We weren't. Don't get me wrong, I don't think Hibs were great either. I think it was a very poor game. We were creating half chances, but again, we've not got the quality to score a lot of goals. We don't have it. I mean, I wouldn't even know the total for the front three, Taneke, Finkara and Yang, the total number of goals across the three of them sort of since they've been here this season. I wouldn't know the total figure, but it's not going to be very high, and it won't increase by that much between now and the end of the season, because we don't have that cutting edge. Nygren, he's a funny one, because he's one of the players, and listen, it is an art to sort of be in the right place at the right time and put the ball in the net, and we would be in a far worse place without that this season. I think you've got to give credit to him for that, but it's the rest of his game he doesn't offer very much, and like, we're not in such a place at the moment where we can afford that. But again, you're probably worse off without the goals. But even the midfield three, I thought was a fucking bizarre call. There was no legs in it, no real athleticism in it, and like, it was just asking for trouble. But it's just not a very good team. It really isn't. I go into games just sort of praying at this point that we can get something, and praying that 2, 3, 4 of the players have the game of their lives and it can get us over the line, but I just don't see it, and that's where the prediction sort of come from. But it wasn't very good. Hibs knew where to presses at times, and goals coming from mistakes. It's just not something that's any fucking surprise to us, to be honest with you. And like, even the final goal, like, nobody getting out to stop the shot and stuff. It's simple stuff, and it comes down to a desire. And I think a lot of players are lacking that, to be totally honest with you. But I don't really know what people expect when you've got a team full of glorified mercenaries at this point, when fucking half of them are in loan. They're not going to put it in with the Hearts, because why the fuck would they? Like, they've got to get back to their parent club at the end of the season. But aye, Darren, I'm a bit similar. Like, I'm fearful going into games at this point, especially going into this run. Like, our games prior to that, and we touched on it before, like, we were playing the dregs of the league, and Kilmarnock and Livy and Dundee, like, the real shite of the league. I think they were like 3 of the bottom 4 or whatever, like, and we were struggling past them. And obviously there's a few teams now that maybe dissimilar to other seasons, where there's really only one other team that will give you a proper game. Like, there's 2, 3 and 4 now who aren't afraid to come and get in our faces and make it difficult for us. And I think coming into the games, we're just going to struggle massively. And I think you're seeing that. I think Hibs is probably, whatever it was, the next 5 games, 6 games, they were probably the easiest tie, with being at home and good crowd in and all the rest of it. And we made a rip roaring cunt of it. I think we'll be having a lot of similar discussions in here, talking about mistakes and a lack of cutting edge and a lack of any real quality in the team in the next couple of weeks. But I hope I'm wrong.
Aye, definitely. As I think a lot of people have commented, it feels like we are sort of just repeating ourselves, and that's because it's the same thing every week we're seeing. On the pitch, it's just gone from bad to worse, and as you said, we sort of got away with it against the dregs of the league, but I think now that we're going to play better teams in the league, we're going to get caught out a wee bit more. So, as I mentioned, the notes from that meeting have been released finally, Andy. Can you use a sort of brief overview of them?
I can run through it, and as I say, it's difficult with things like this, and I'm sure I don't need to explain to people how meetings and minutes and all that usually work. And like, we try and be as transparent as possible with these things, and just to give people a picture of what effectively what we're working with. So similar to the last meeting, once it finishes, we've got our sort of version, they've got theirs. They said to us, we'll send you across our minute on Friday, close of play Friday. You can look for any edits you want to make, blah, blah, blah. You sort of try and meet in the middle. So Friday passes, nothing. Whole weekend passes, nothing. Monday, yesterday passes, nothing. Meanwhile, obviously, I get it for people on the outside. They're wanting answers and they're wanting to know what's happening. And we're sort of in that middle ground position of, well, what else can we really do here? So we prod the club and try and ask for something else. Needless to say, this morning a version lands in the inbox for the club. No even an explanation as to what the fuck was taking them so long, why it's taking them nigh on a week to get a version of minutes out of us. They were okay, but they were missing a lot of key information, and I think it's important in situations like this that they're fully reflective of the conversation and the tone of conversation and how it went. And as I say, it just missed a lot of that. And like, we had so much messing about last time with the club as well, and like, it's intentionally awkward, to be honest with you. Like, I said at the time, I think it's intentional that they take so long to get them out, because I don't believe that would be the case if it was something that was going to shine them in a good light, that they would take this long. I think it's to try and undermine our position and to try and cause that sort of level of distrust between the collective and everybody else, because it then looks as if it's us that's sort of holding it back or holding information back, because there's naturally people who won't want to go for the club, and that's sort of scenario, and that's what's happened. They'll obviously be out there now, and I'll know sort of bore people when we reading line by line what's in them, but I think it's important to give you a sort of flavour of what's in there. And when they're talking about how Brian Wilson's sitting there saying he thinks Michael Nicholson's performance this season is acceptable, stuff like that. That's what you're up against with these people. That's who you're trying to speak to. That's who you're supposed to believe has the club's best interests at heart, which is just fucking nonsense. And this is why when we talk about how fucking scunneling it is to sit and listen to this, it's full of contradictions. It's full of just total fucking garbage that they try and throw at you, and it's like, this is stuff that they'll say to you to your face. I mean, I think Tony's been banging the drum for years now that they fucking hate us. And if this is what they'll say in a room to people who are questioning them and pointing out the contradictions to them and telling them how that can't be the case. Like, what are they saying behind closed doors? That's all I take for it at this point. I mean, it's already been flagged up to me, as I say. I'm sure people will read them, but there's a bit in it that talks about how Brian Wilson came across as disengaged in the discussion, and just to sort of paint the picture for people and what's meant by that. Towards the end of the discussion, there was obviously chat going on, and we were trying to sort of at least break through to them that we don't want to be in this position. We don't want to have a repeat of Stuttgart. We want to move on for that, and we want to sort of start to make progress. And ultimately, we don't want any further protests. We don't want to be asking people not to go to games and fucking throw balls in the pitch or whatever it might be. And the whole time, Brian Wilson's just sitting fucking doodling on his notepad, just sitting, no giving a fuck, essentially, just sitting, pretty much saying, why the fuck do I need to be here? Doodling away in his notepad, and then says, oh, I'm sorry, it's just a bad habit, when he was called out on it. Like, that's what you're up against with these people. And this is why we've said a million times, it's going to take a real united fan base to get on that. But either out there now, people can obviously have a read through them and make of them what they will. I would always say, bear in mind that minutes are sort of supposed to be done in such a way that they're fairly neutral, and as neutral as can be, rather than to avoid getting a commentary on what happened. But the way they go on at times still sort of paints that picture of how fucking brutal it is. But aye, they're out there now, and as I say, Darren, it's the delay's no down to us. That's all I can say. It's these people that you're trying to work with, you're trying your best to work with, just being as awkward and providing as many obstructions as they possibly can.
Aye, absolutely. As you say, I just thought it'd be fair to let you come in, because as you mentioned, there's a lot of people who think it's the collective side that's not getting information out as quick as possible, when I think just from my own personal experience and knowing what you and others are doing, that it's quite often you're held up by other factors. But as you say, people, I'm sure they'll be published, or people can find them online, they've been emailed out, so I'm sure people will see them somewhere, can read them themselves. But Tony, people usually like your reaction to Celtic statements and notes from these sort of meetings. Is there anything that's caught your eye from them? I know you've had a chance to quickly glance through them.
They're a waste of time. And I say to Andy, every time he comes back for these meetings, I couldn't sit in a room with Michael Nicholson or Chris Mackay or Brian Wilson or any of them. I think it's a total waste of time. I said before, I think Brian Wilson's doing a brilliant job for the board, because I think people think he's out there to kind of drive change and he's going to be the man to sort all the issues, and I don't think that's the case at all. I mean, I said before, I don't think that him or Nicholson or Mackay or any. I think one man has all the power at Celtic, and I don't think it's any of them. So I think meeting them is pointless. But the man that holds all the power, he's never going to meet with the scumbags and the tramps and the idiots who have dared to criticise him and his stupid wee boys. So he's not going to be meeting me anytime soon. I think I can only say the same thing so many times. Just let the footballers do the talking. For the collective, anything they've tried has been met with fans going, no this way, no, that's not enough, no, that's too far. Just do nothing. Just let the rest of this season play out. And when we finish miles off the tap, then the collective will have shown that they were right for August, that this club is in dire need of change. So for me, I says the exact same thing in the last episode. So in terms of statement, it's not a Dermot Desmond statement, so I'm not going to start getting off my head. I think the minutes for the meeting, it's no surprise to me that there's no agreed way of going forward. And of course they're going to say Nicholson's doing a good job, because if they say he isn't, they're going to go, well, sack that daft cunt for yet. So that's it. And look, there's smart guys at Celtic. I'd be really surprised if behind closed doors anybody's gone, well done, Michael, this is great. Third in the league, fucked out of Europe, fucked out the cup, about to get trounced again in Europe. Motherwell, who have spent about 10 pence, 4 points behind us. You're excellent, Michael. What a guy you are. I mean, I highly doubt behind closed doors that's what's going on. But look, the club's an absolute bin fire. It's a mess. It's a club that is falling apart, and it's done it to itself. The board have done it to the fans. I think there's been a great kind of switch now in favour of the board, whereby the fans are just having a go at other fans. There's no unity. There's nothing like that at all. So I think that's it. I think the collective have done all they can in terms of trying to get people on side. But you know what it's like. That collective, I don't agree with this. No, I don't. I'm not a big fan of that. And I feel more people kind of go at the collective than the board and Desmond. I don't know if it's the hopelessness of, we'll never get rid of Desmond. We'll never be able to sack the board. What does that mean? How do you sack a board? You can't get rid of them. And obviously there is ways to get rid of them. For example, if nobody turned up to Celtic Park for 3 weeks in a row, not one person went through those turnstiles, you would soon get changed, believe you me, because that would be catastrophic for them. But that's not going to happen. So I think it's definitely time for likes of Andy and everybody else. No more meetings. Fuck that. Again, I says if I was a Green Brigade, I'd just be saying, no, what, geez the fucking money back and fuck off, a lot of yous. And then, just no more meetings, no more bouncy balls, no more protests, no nothing. Don't worry about that. As I've said it before, one club will decide when the Celtic fans want change, and it won't be Celtic. It'll be Rangers. Rangers do us the way I think they will. And that's when you'll have fans going right straight to Celtic Park to get this board. Because that was what happened after they beat us at Celtic Park. So that's the way I see it. It's absolutely depressing and doom and gloom. But I can only be honest. I know people don't like the negative predictions, but would the point me going, oh no, what, I think we'll beat Hibs 4-0 when I'm in the chat going, I think we're going to get beat. I can only be honest. And unfortunately, a lot of the predictions he is getting beat, I've been right, which is shite. You want a prediction for Thursday?
Aye, go for it. Start us off. How's Martin going to guide us to an incredible comeback?
You know, I actually started off with 5-0, I think I says the last episode. I'm going to change that. I think it'll be 6-0 to Stuttgart. I think he'll play a weakened team, which, well, look, the first team's a weakened team because it's that bad. But I think he'll just be desperate to get something at Ibrox. So I think it'll be a weakened team. I think we'll get down 6-0. I think we'll probably, there'll be a time in the game we'll concede like 2 goals in the space of 15 seconds, you know, the kind of usual stuff. So, and it'll be 23 years since we'd won a knockout tie. I was at primary school then. I was 7 years of age and I'm now 30. So that's quite incredible. So well done to Peter, Michael, Chris, Desmond and everybody else involved. These are absolute heroes. Fucking wanks.
I know, just that 23 years and counting, because I'm sure it'll continue the way this fucking board are going. And just before I move on to my Stuttgart prediction, I would say, as much as I've caned Wilson a bit at the start, at least he's fucking been present at these meetings and he is got a bit of buzz about him to talk to people at the front of the stadium when a lot are not really big fans of him. That fucking weasel Nicholson, he should be reminded at every sort of stage this season and every time he's at Celtic Park that he is a fucking weasel, a coward and no fit to be Celtic CEO. The fact that he's not been there and your man Hargreaves hasn't been anywhere near these meetings or engaging with fans, I think that should show you all you need to know. As I say, I've gave Wilson a lot of stick for his politician sort of aura and bravado, etc. But at least he, like we actually says about Lawwell as well when he spoke to the people outside St Mirren last year or the year before. At least this Wilson's actually standing up. You've got a fucking cowardly CEO who's hiding, and the sooner he's gone the better as well. So I just wanted to add that in. I'm not going to cover Stuttgart too much. I'll go 4-0 Stuttgart. I think they'll take their foot off the gas, but even then, if you take your foot off the gas, you'll easily get through our team because they are pathetic, and as you say, we should have both eyes on Sunday. It's not just one eye towards Sunday. I'd just be playing players that you don't expect to use at Ibrox because I just think, well, if you were to go and like, as much of there's no really anybody in massive form, but if you were to lose somebody that's been consistently playing for this week, then it could be, like, it could hurt you and hurt the season even more. So I'll go 4-0 Stuttgart and hopefully no injuries at least. But Andy, you want to round us off with a Stuttgart prediction?
Aye, funnily enough, I actually caught Stuttgart's game with Hibernian at the weekend. They drew 3 each, and I'm sitting saying I cannot believe for a second that we're not going out there like, to take the game to them and potentially progress. Like, they're an alright team, but it's just such a fall for grace for where we could have been.
Heidenheim, they get a draw with them. They must be near the top of the league, eh?
No. You fucking think that's the team sitting stone last in the Bundesliga. I think we've got like fucking 14 points after about 24 games or something mental like that, conceding about fucking 500 goals in the process. I think the same. Go out, make loads of changes, and it's probably find that we'll fucking change 11 players and they'll put in a better performance. But I think it might be the same result. I think it could be I was going to say 4-0, but you did as well. So I'll be a bit more lenient and say 3-0 Stuttgart, because to be honest, they probably know they're through as well and are looking to sort of protect their team for more important and more challenging games that they'll have, because we'll certainly not give them one of them. So I'll say 3-0 Stuttgart.
Well, there you go. Some more positive predictions from us as usual. Good luck to anybody that's going out there. I know we know a few that are travelling out. Somebody actually told me it's maybe 20 degrees out there on Thursday, so I mean, you'll enjoy some good weather and some good Pilsner and German beer, so enjoy that. And I actually seen on the Celtic website full of the information that if you look drunk, they're breathalyzing fans at the front of the stadium, so just get steaming and then get breathalyzed. You might get knocked back and you won't have to endure a torrid 90 minutes, but aye, good luck to everybody that's gone. And as I say,
I was just going to say, on this occasion, if they're breathalyzing you and stopping you, get into the stadium, don't drink responsibly. Drink as much as fucking possible to save you watching that shite. So that's awfully nice of the Stuttgart mob to not be letting fans in that are too drunk. I'd assume anybody in Stuttgart will be fucking plastered before we play them.
aye, I've seen that. I think JPT says it's only if you seem very merry that they'll be breathalyzing you, but also saying that the meet-up point for Celtic fans is in a beer garden, so work that one out if you can. But aye, as you say, it might be for the best if you don't get in. That'll be the worst part of your trip, probably having to watch that game. But we'll be back, I don't know, some point later in the week. As I said, we'll be back as a full complement. We'll get Danny back and we'll get a wee preview for Sunday's game as Celtic look to battle Rangers to see who's going to finish third or second. It's looking like at this stage two really terrible teams, and we'll predict and preview that game in full later in the week. So I know it's a long episode, we're nearly at the 50-minute mark again, so thanks very much to anybody that's taking the time to listen. We will be back later in the week. Just check your podcast players and our social media if you want to keep an eye on that, and we'll speak to you then. Hail, hail.